Hi, it's Rupert Hine here from Action Coach near Kinross, joined today by Ifeyinwa Kanu from IntelliDigest. Ifeyinwa, welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rupert. It's a pleasure to be here.
Really, really great for you to join us. You've got a really fascinating business history. So, last 7 years you've been running IntelliDigest. Tell us what is IntelliDigest and what got you into running it?
Interesting. IntelliDigest is a company that is focused on food system sustainability, and we work with stakeholders across the food system, and we support them through technology innovation and capacity building as they transition to adopting more sustainable practices. IntelliDigest is a purpose-led business, and for us, the purpose for us at IntelliDigest is ensuring that more people have access to good food and no child goes to bed hungry. So for us, that drives every action we take within IntelliDigest and how we support stakeholders across the food system from farm to fork in this transition to adopting more sustainable practices. I think the question will be, why do we need, this transition at this point? It's really important to highlight that over 30% of food produced for human consumption is currently wasted, and that contributes massively to, greenhouse gas emission, which also is also having a lot of effect on climate change. And also is important to highlight that currently, because of the way we engage with food, over 1.9 billion people are currently suffering from obesity, and the UK government spends over 18 billion pounds in healthcare service for obesity-related diseases. And that's not looking into other non-communicable diseases that also relate to cardiovascular diseases, which then lead to a lot of terminal diseases that we have in the society today. So we wouldn't also leave out the fact that over 900 million people are hungry globally. So that is, interesting factors we need to consider within the food system. And the issue is that we have over 33% of soil degraded, which means that the way we producing food today and the way we distributing and consuming food today is not helping us as humanity. Rather, it is for the degrading the environment and also impact on our health. So we need to have a complete rethink of how we engage with food. And this is what IntelliDigest is doing, taking a food system approach to identifying areas we have challenges, because the food system is a complex system when you look at the different players in the food system, but really going through each of these processes, stages within the food system, identifying where the challenges are and try to work with those stakeholders to see how we can mitigate it. But more importantly, emphasizing the fact that households and individuals just like you and me, we have the power to change the food system. And unless we take the right decision to help make that change, the chances is that we will continue to struggle with the food system and we continue to have access to food that doesn't improve our health and also further degrade our environment.
Fantastic. So you're on a bit of a mission there. It's always good to have a big goal in business, but
Yeah.
there's not many bigger than changing the world's food system. So how did you get started?
A very good question. So how did I get started? My entry into the food system, as someone with a background in environmental engineering, is more looking at food waste issues and how do we address food waste issues. And the more I get involved in it, the more I get to understand there is a lot more we can do. So whether thinking about food waste and food loss, when we're talking about food loss, we're talking about food that's wasted before the farm gate and food waste or food that are wasted after the farm gate. So whether we're talking about food loss or food waste, most of these are edible food loss or food waste. So why or what can we do to mitigate this edible food loss and food waste? And then how can we recover value, bionutrients from inedible food loss and food waste so we can use it back into food production. So that has been, so for me, going with the engineering perspective, which mostly, if you know an engineer is always a system thinker, because if you want to design systems, you need to break those systems into different components, build them separately, and then assemble them into a complete component. So coming with that kind of system thinking really helped me to look at the food system as a whole system, and how do we break them into these different components and approach each of the system separately, looking at what the problem is and then bringing it together and then saying, okay, those are the approaches we can take to make the system work better. So so for me, entering from the food waste aspect and then continue to work with different experts, whether in terms of nutrition or whether in terms of agronomists, dietitians, horticulturists, aquaculturists, veterinary doctors, is always in having that open mind to speak with them, understand what they're doing, understand where the problems are, and how you can help with knowledge you have, either pulling them together to work together to solve the problem, or identifying where you can help them address the problem they have at that point.
Brilliant. So what's what's the area where you can make the biggest difference to a food business?
Well, that's a very good question. So the food business, are we first of all ask what type of food business are you referring to? Are you referring to a food retailer or a food manufacturer, a food processor, a restaurant, or a catering facility, or the farmer who produces food in the farm? They're all food businesses. So how do you really help them? I think the key things about planning the food system, and this is why the end user holds that power to making the change within the food system. So you and I, if we could provide more information about what we need, and also thinking about how we engage with food, not just because we want it now. I want it now. I'm just gonna call that delivery company, and they just need to deliver it right now, or heavens are going to fall down. So it's about how do we engage with the food system in a way that can help the food system to heal and get better. So we have the power to make the change. So the food businesses, we can direct them to do what we want them to do. And unless we, as the individuals, as societies, begin to make that conscious decision to plan what we eat, just like we do plan our holidays, we do every other thing, but we don't do that around the food system. We just believe that we should have food on the go anytime when we want it and where we want it. And that simply means that we then have a system that tries to provide it for us anytime, anywhere. And the chances is that when it's not used, they have massive edible food waste. But if we can put in a little bit effort in thinking about what we do around food, and also the planning, it means that we can help other players within the food system. So take, for instance, if a farmer knows that within a specific locality, more people are going to be demanding a certain type of fruits and vegetable, and he's been educated to know that if he plants those vegetables, it will help in building nutrient in the soil. It will help in the microbial activity in the soil. It will help integrated pest management, which means that he will use less nutrient, he will use less pesticides, he can do a lot more with cover cropping, which retains the soil quality. With that, with that information, the farmer could be more informed to do that and take that risk to say, okay, I'm going to invest in mixed cropping. I'm going to invest in crop rotation because I know it's going to make a difference to the life of people, and it's going to help both improving the soil health, reducing my cost of production, and helping grow high quality produce than I currently do. That will come only because he's a lot more informed. Also, the farmer could also benefit a lot from use of technologies and satellite data, where the farmer can then plan better in terms of what they produce, when to harvest, and also how to use different production systems so that you can grow in and out of different weather, and then you manage what facility you use at every point in time, considering the weather condition. And there's a lot we can achieve the more we have the data insight on what end users need, and also help the farmer to plan ahead and work towards meeting those demands and as well as also eliminating all of the waste in the process. And when it comes to the food manufacturers and food processors and food retailers, all that planning will also help them in their activities and what they produce. And the processing they have to put in place to meet the nutritional and health demand of the end user, because then if they don't meet it, then the chances the end user wouldn't be interested in it. But overall, I think, regulators, governments, policymakers have got a role to play, and I'm so grateful to the Scottish government with the Good Food Act. So leading positioning Scotland as a leading good food nation, which means that every citizen in Scotland have the right to good food.
I think it's pretty clear talking to you that your engineering background influences what you're doing, and the focus on the detail of process and really drilling down to all the root causes and analyzing the way it's working so you can extract the best solutions every step of the way are massive. And that's probably not a surprise. I mean, you're one of the top 50 women in engineering, or you've been awarded one of the top 50 women in engineering under 35.
Just like I was nominated for it in 2017. So that is some way back now. So I'm a bit older, just to clarify.
So
Well, the good thing is that I was recently selected for one of the iconic engineers from the Royal Academy of Engineering. So on the National Engineering Day, Royal Academy of Engineering did work with Transport for London to identify, I think, about 240 thereabout engineers across the world that they replaced the stations, the tube stations, with their names. So was pleased to have been selected as one of the iconic engineers across the world. For me, I think it feels more like being a Nobel laureate, because I saw a number of Nobel Prize winners also selected for that. So yeah, quite pleasing.
yeah, so as an engineer who's on a mission, you've got a great idea, you're determined to make a difference, and you've set up a business. So what were the challenges that you had to overcome to make the business the success it is today?
Thanks, Rupert. I think I'll be careful using the word success, because there's still a lot more we need to achieve. Yeah, so but I'm so grateful for where we are and the journey we've been on. And I think for me, I think I will say I've got a very unique path in terms of my journey, being moving from academia into entrepreneurship and business. So while I was doing my PhD, I was privileged to get the Royal Society of Edinburgh Enterprise Fellowship. And I think that was a complete change for me and a massive support for me in my journey, because then you have access to mentors and you're being trained about business and different things you need to consider in doing business, and just being through that program really did make a massive impact in I think it did make a massive impact in the journey that I have in entrepreneurship. And I think being lucky also to get the Royal Academy of Engineering Enterprise Fellowship at the back of that also widened our network, and also helped with my knowledge base around developing a business and then getting that progress. And so I will say I'm very grateful for those opportunities, and I will say to anyone who is thinking of moving from academia into entrepreneurship, it's really important to explore such opportunities, and they're quite competitive. So if you're able to get on them, please do make the best use of them. So for me, I think that unique journey, having such a support at the very early stage, was very helpful for me. Not just having the resource and the funding to focus on the business, but also having the wider network that helped to nurture what you're thinking. I know that I do have a very clear focus on what I want to achieve and what I want to do. But I wouldn't say that where we started is where we are today. Along the way, we've been able to rethink what we're doing, identify where there are opportunities, and explore our strengths, identify our weaknesses, and keep on with a focus on the vision of what we want to achieve. And I do remain very grateful to everyone who has been very helpful to me along that journey.
Fantastic. So where next? What does the next 5 years hold for you?
I think the next 5 years is quite exciting, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. And I think I will say that we've done a lot of hard work establishing IntelliDigest in the past 7 years, and we have clarity on what we're doing. And for the next 5 years, we're looking to continue to grow in capacity, especially with the World Food Tracker platform, being able to have that used globally across the world. And just to put a bit of touch on it, the World Food Tracker is a multi-stakeholder online platform that can help people plan their meal, buy food items, monitor their nutrition consumption, monitor their food waste, how much they're wasting, what's the economic value of what they're wasting, how they can plan better, and also support the farmers in planning, help them to have access to support network of consultants, have access to support suppliers of different equipment or machineries they need. And for us, having such a platform that can help and bring different stakeholders within the food system together to work and enable a sustainable food system it's been a journey, and we've put a lot of work into developing that over the years, and seeing that being adopted across the world is something that we looking forward to that growing, because we do have so many users on the platform across the world, and we want to see that number growing, especially in regards to the impact it could have on local communities, because as much as it's a global platform, it's very local focused, so you can actually use it on different languages and different currencies. It just allows you that flexibility to engage with the platform. So I'm excited for it, and I'm looking forward to the impact it will continue to make across the globe, and where we need to integrate with other partners and work with other partners to make sure that we continue to drive impact. We'll be very open to do that. We do have a number of technology solutions we're working on, and we're looking forward to wider commercialization and adoption of these technology solutions, and continue to partner with different stakeholders where there is synergies, and we can build on that.
Brilliant. So if there's one piece of advice you'd want to give to somebody who's literally just starting out in business, what would that be?
I think it's not, there's no silver bullet to exactly what you can do, but one thing that stands the test of time is really understanding your passion, so understanding yourself, because along the journey you're gonna experience a lot of ups and downs, a lot of challenges. When you see financial forecast, you have this kind of a hockey stick graph, but the fact is that journey doesn't go that way. It goes with a lot of challenges and ups and downs along, and a lot of curves along the way. So it's about what keeps you going when you're in the low moments, so that when you climb up to the high moments, you're still moving at almost the same capacity, and you're still focused at the same capacity. So for me, it's about that passion, something that you strongly believe in, and you know that when you deliver on that, you feel accomplished, you feel that you've achieved something. Please, it's important that you identify that, and then you work with it. I don't mean that you should be so rigid on that, in the sense that you don't allow scope for pivots. So as well as you need to be focused, you need to be flexible, because there could be so many routes to getting to where you want to go. But don't lose focus of the end point, but
Yeah.
explore different routes to get in there. Have that flexibility, have that focus, and know your passion. That would be my key word to them.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's it's the sort of lesson from Viktor Frankl, man's search for meaning. If you've
Yeah,
got if you've got that underlying purpose that drives you, as you say, the journey of business is a bit of a roller coaster,
yeah.
and it helps you get through the troughs and back
Mm-hmm.
up the inclines again. And I think talking to you, it's clear that the passion you have for this um, is clearly one of the reasons why you've created what you've created,
Yeah.
um, and it'll be fascinating, really exciting watching you um, take the business over the next 5-10 years, and yeah, make that impact that you're after. So, if I thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. It's been really fascinating hearing how that engineer's approach is achieving those big goals.
Yeah.
It's been brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rupert. My pleasure.